Hello, I'm going to try to share with you how to enable the attendance feature in your Canvas as a tool and how to use it. Now, you can use this for in-class meetings, you can use it for synchronous Zoom meetings, and then this way you can keep track of your students' participation. Now, again, we can't ever grade on attendance, but we can grade on positive participation. All right, let me share my screen here. Let's see how quickly I can do this. So here you'll notice that although I have grades enabled, I don't have the attendance tool enabled. So what I'm going to do is scroll to the bottom of my course navigation settings, and I'm going to click on settings, and then I'm going to click on navigation. Remember that the first table shows you everything that's been enabled in your course, and most of these things are what your students can see. And the bottom shows what has not been enabled or hidden, and this table shows what students cannot see. And so here I'm going to go ahead and find attendance. I'm going to either drag it up to the top table, or I'm going to click on the three dots, which are the more options. I'm going to click on the plus enable or add enable. And then here I can move this wherever I want to move this. If I want this to be above chat, then I can do that. I might even disable chat right now because I'm not using that. And so I'll put it there. Maybe it doesn't have to be prominent, but it should be here because then I can direct students to go ahead and take a look at that. Once I have that attendance feature where I want it located, then I'll hit save. Now it should be already in the course navigation, and it's right here. So I'm going to click on attendance, and what it will show me is a list of all my students, and it also will show me today's date. So whenever I first go into attendance, it'll show me today's date. Let's say that, oops, I had meetings last week and I didn't record any of them because maybe I was just getting in to the swing of things and I didn't do that. Well, I can either back up, or I can click on this little calendar icon, and then I can say, oh, that's right, I did have a meeting 2 weeks ago, and it was on the Monday, August 30th. Well, let me go back to that date. And who was in that meeting? Well, let me think. I believe that in that meeting, now normally I might have scribbled it down on a piece of paper because that helps, because I'm going to go back down and I'm going to say, who was in that meeting? It was a voluntary meeting, not an obligated meeting. Do I see anyone here who was in that meeting? Yes, I do. So I'm going to go ahead and click here, and that now with one click means yes, they were present. 2 clicks means no, they were not. And 3 clicks is if I want to give them a late percentage. So I can go, and I'll show you how to do that. If they arrived, but they arrived late, then maybe I don't want to give them full points for that, but I do want to give them some sort of acknowledgement. In this case, there was a little tardiness there. So I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to click on this little gear on the top right hand corner, and here I'm going to go ahead and click on roll call settings. And then here you can see here, do not count attendance towards final grade. And I'm going to click here on the lateness. A lateness counts as a certain percentage of that presence. So for example, I think the default is 80. I feel really that it should be more like 75. I really want to promote punctuality. Okay, and so then once I've done that, then I'll go ahead and click save. I think for this, I just click out of this gray area. Now, in this particular case, I think that I do want to let it count somehow towards the final grade. It might be as an extra credit or something like that. So I'll go ahead and take a look at how I'm going to do that. Click into the gray. That's how you click out of that, or you close this little X there, X out of that. And then for everyone else, because this is not a penalty to not have joined that meeting, I'm going to just go ahead and leave this gray. So if you leave it gray, it's a neutral. That means it doesn't count against students. And full green means that it counts towards that. Now, Vero right here, she also attended and she was punctual, so she gets a nice little green check mark there. Now, if I decided that, oops, no, that wasn't a late for Celeste, I could go back and then click back into the green. In this case, it was punctual. So now the other thing is that maybe I want to give more indications, sort of a badging in terms of what happened here. So here on the right hand side, I can click on more, and then I can go ahead and add a badge. And in that badge, I might say that this badge was positive synchronous meeting. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say positive synchronous meeting and a star maybe. I can change the color if I want the color to be, let's see, what could the blue maybe, or maybe I want it to be purple, and I'll save that badge. That means that this student will now be able to, if they go into attendance, they'll be able to see that they got credit and positive synchronous meeting, just acknowledgement. It doesn't go towards points or anything. Now let's say that I'm satisfied with that. I'll click out of that. Where do I click out of that? Let me see here, go all the way up. Probably click out here. So it wasn't letting me click right where I could see it. So just go and click somewhere else. And then here, for example, I'm going to click on the more. And then this student also had positive synchronous meeting, even if the arrival to the meeting was late. And so, and here it says it was 75% of attendance. And then I'll click on that. And to get out, I just scroll to the top and click somewhere near the unmarked. So this is a way to be able to quickly keep track of all the students who have come into your synchronous meeting, and then of any of the late students. For the late students, normally they're not as many as the punctual students, so it's easier to just write it down and then go back and then clear it. But you could be right within the day of the class and just right there take attendance. You know, it's okay if students see who is present and who is not. Or you could hide your screen, and then just as students are there, you make note of who is all there. And that's how you can do that. You can mark all present at present. If you see and notice that most people are there, it's easier to mark all present and then unmark those who are not present. And so again, the point system for this, these can be extra credits, kind of just a little thank you points. But also we can't grade on attendance, but we can grade on positive synchronous meeting participation, if you will. All right, so that's the end of this. There's a lot more that you can do with the grade book, and then you can also place that attendance as an assignment somewhere in your weighted grades so that it will help boost tiny bit. It's not going to be a whole lot. If you're not careful where you put that, it might end up being their whole entire grade. So, you know, let's meet up if you have questions about how to place that in terms of your assignments grouping. Okay, I hope this helped. Bye.